Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Today we'll talk about grammatical sentence, but not, like in previous classes we talked about, the definition of sentences, their skeleton, the basic clause patterns, and then how to expand, add flesh, to the skeletons and expanding, the meanings by introducing different, modifiers in the sentences, and then types of sentences and passives and reported and all. But today we'll discuss some very, very important and sensitive areas of grammatical sentence, some important issues of the parts of speech. Issues of the subject and verb agreements, issues of pronouns, issues of adjectives and adverbs. I believe this is, something very, very important, I would say, lecture, and I'll be expecting your, very, your full attention towards the different points, we discuss. You must have heard of a phrase, common errors. Of course, through grammatical sentence issues, we can, of course, correct those, common errors. When we say the first issue, which is very, very, very important issue, and everybody, of course, lacks some of its, points while writing. People commit some errors regarding subject and verb agreements. When I say subject and verb agreement, what I actually mean? I mean the subject of your sentence and its verb both should agree, with each other. No matter how long is your sentence, no matter how many modifiers, you have used. Doesn't matter how, far apart are your subject and verb in your sentence. Both have to agree, with each other. If singular is the subject, verb has to be singular. If plural is the subject, verb has to be in plural form. This is exactly what we call subject-verb agreements. There are 10, let me use a hyperbole, there are 10 commandments, which we need to follow, like gospel truths, not to, fall for, those errors which we call common errors. To give you one example of subject-verb agreement, when we say the plant needs watering. Now here the subject is the plant, verb is needs watering. Plant is a singular, needs. I'm not using the word need. I have, introduced S to the word need. The plant needs watering. Subject is singular, verb is singular. Both agree with each other. We say, fine, correct, no problem. But if the sentence had been, the plant need watering, for example. So we would have, of course, objected, that the plant is a singular, subject, and need without S or ES, it means the verb is plural. So singular subject with plural verb, does not agree. This is what actually the concept is behind subject-verb agreements. Now, see, subject can be in different forms. If you remember, in one class, we talked about the functional types of subject. And over there, we talked about, there were 6 types, and one was compound subject. If subject is in compound form, connected with the help of and, for example, like Imran and Irfan, for example. Now, this is an example of compound subject. So what to do with the verb? Should verb be in singular or plural form? Okay, take another example. If the subject is in compound form, but not connected now with and, but connected with or nor. For example, Imran or Zishan. Now, what should be the form of the verb? Should it be plural? Should it be singular? Now, these are actually questions which we'll study today in this class under subject-verb agreements. Subject can be in compound form. Subject can be in collective form. So what to do with the verb? subject can be like, in indefinite pronoun form, like everyone, for example. Now, everyone by meanings means each one of you. Everyone after everyone, should we use singular or plural? So, of course, we'll discuss these. Let's now come back to our 10, subject-verb commandments. And the commandment number 1. Actually, by the way, I would like to tell that in this, class especially, there'll be a lot of slide work, actually. I'll show you the principle. Then I'll show you one example, which will be exact translation of the principle in some, functional form. And then you'll see 1, 2, or 3 sentences, which, of course, will have certain, problems. What? Of course, subject and verb problem. And then, you and me together, we'll try to correct, those. Like on your screen, rule number 1 or commandment number 1 is what? Make the verb agree with its subject, not with the word that comes between. Now, in this rule, what it says, that subject should agree with its verb. There may be many, words between your subject and your verb. There may be many in the form of modifier. For example, there can be a prepositional modifier. Between subject and verb, there can be a prepositional modifier. There can be a positive also. Like if you remember the bracket information maybe. Doesn't matter. I mean, if subject is in singular form, the modifiers are in plural form, and then comes the verb, you have to make your singular verb agree with its, singular subject agree with its singular verb. Forget about what are the words in between your subject and verb. This is what rule number 1 says. Now, you can see the example. The tulips, now this is your subject in plural form. The tulips in the pot on the balcony need watering. The tulips, which is subject in plural form, in the pot on the balcony. Now, these are 2 modifiers, which are prepositional modifier. One modifier with in, second modifier with on. In the, pot on the balcony. The tulips. In the pot, on the balcony. Now, the verb is need. Should it be singular or plural? When the tulips are plural, verb is plural. So, the tulips in the pot, on the balcony, need watering. Now, subject and verb, both agree. Forgetting about what are the words which are between subject and verb. So, commandment number 1 is what? Make your subject agree with its verb, not with the words which come in between subject and verb. You can see one more example. High levels of air pollution causes damage to the respiratory tract. Now, you have to very carefully see that high levels of air pollution. You have to decide, actually, high levels is your subject or air pollution is your subject. Of course, high levels is subject, not air pollution. So, high levels of air pollution. Of air pollution is what? This is, we call the words in between subject and verb. So, high levels, this is plural subject. Verb has to be plural. We are not going to use verb, with respect to air pollution. Air pollution is a singular one, so verb will be singular. So, cause is wrong. High levels is your subject. So, high levels, then cause. So, the sentence goes, you can see carefully, high levels of air pollution cause damage. High levels plural, cause plural. You can see the second example. A good set of golf clubs cost about $800. Again, same is the problem. A good set of golf clubs. Set is your subject, of golf clubs is your subject. If set is your subject, it's in singular form. And then verb has to be in singular form, which is cost. C-O-S-T-S. If you see that golf clubs is your subject, I mean, just assume that golf clubs is your subject, then the verb, would have been cost, plural into plural. But here, Club, golf clubs is not our subject. Our subject is a good set. Set is our subject. So it will be a good set costs. One more example. The governor as well as his press secretary were shot. Now, in this example, the governor as well as his press secretary were shot. Subject is the governor, okay? And as well as actually mean along with. So we are not saying the governor and his press secretary. Now, had it been this way, then fine. I mean, were, would have been all right. But here what we are saying is the focus is on governor, not on the both actually. There is no equal focus on governor and the press secretary. Rather, what we are using actually, the governor as well as. Now, as well as means along with. So, governor actually is our subject. And then verb has to be singular. Governor, verb has to be singular. The governor was shot. In other words, whatever are the words in between subject and verb, just ignore. Very simple thing. I repeat, no matter how long is your sentence, just take a pencil, underline subject and underline verb. Doesn't matter they're close or apart from each other. Doesn't matter. Underline them and see they agree with each other. If they agree, take my words, if they agree, 90% of your grammatical sentence problems, will be all right. I mean, our major problems are subject-verb agreement problems, We are quite fine with adjectives and adverbs and pronouns, But when comes the subject and verb, they're like, most of us claps. So, commandment number 1, subject has to agree with its verb, not with the words which come in between. Now, let's move to commandment number 2 or issue 2 or rule number 2. What it says on your screen, treat most compound subject connected by and as plural. You have seen in 6 types of subjects. If you remember, there were like, noun and pronoun and gerund and infinitive and noun clause, and one was compound subject. I mean, 2 or more than 2 nouns or pronouns connected by and, making 2 or 3 as plural. When they are plural, compound connected by and. They are plural and verb is going to be plural. Like example I have given you is, Aroma and Viola often jog together. Now, Aroma and Viola often jogs. No. Aroma and Viola, plural. Often jog. Jog is also plural. So this is how they agree. Now, one more example. Jill's natural ability and her desire to help others has led to a career in the ministry. Now, in this sentence, you see 2 characteristics have been given. They are different in nature. They are not same. They're different in nature, connected with the help of and. That makes it plural. Verb has to be plural. Whereas, here we have used has, change it into have. Like Jill's natural ability and her desire to help others have led to a career in the ministry. So this is your commandment number 2. Compound subject connected with the help of and is plural. Verb is going to be plural. The third one is very interesting. Third rule. That is what? Compound subject. Like here, connected by and, but a compound subject not connected by and now, connected by or nor. What to do with that? For example, Aroma or Viola. Imran or his friends. Now, point is, should we take it also plural? No, not at all. Now, here what we do actually, first, you better read the rule, then I'll explain you. The rule says, with compound subjects connected by or nor, make the verb agree with the part of the subject nearer to the verb. Yes, this is something, interesting. Two subjects connected by or nor. Okay? Now, verb, we're going to use verb according to the subject which is nearer. Like the example which I gave, Imran or his friends. Now look here, there are two, subjects, Imran and what? Or his friends. Imran is a singular, his friends is plural. The rule says that verb will be according to, in this case, verb will be according to the subject which is nearer. Now, Imran or his friends nearer to the verb, and his friends will choose the verb. So, the sentence will go, Imran or his friends, let's say, will, come to, take so-and-so. And example on your screen, you can see, a driver's license or credit card is required. A driver's license or credit card. Now, here we are not saying a driver's license or credit card are required, because or means one out of these two. And second thing, we said verb will be according to the subject which is nearer. And nearer is what? Credit card. So, credit card is singular, verb is singular. See one more example. If a relative or neighbor are abusing a child. Now, in this sentence, if a relative or neighbor are, same is the problem. This is not and compound subject. And means, two together. Or means not two together, one of these two. And then we have to see which one is nearer. And the nearer is singular, therefore verb has to be singular. So the sentence should go, if a relative or neighbor is singular, is abusing a child, notify the police. See the next sentence, neither the real estate agent nor her clients. Now, the real estate agent is singular, nor her clients. Now, clients is plural. And then comes the verb. So, clients is nearer the verb, and clients going to decide the verb. Clients is plural, verb is going to be plural. Check the sentence. Neither the real estate agent nor her clients were, not was, were. Why? Because clients is plural, and clients are going to choose the verb, plural subject, plural verb. Now, three, cardinal principles we have studied. Number one is subject and verb should agree with each other, not, with the words which come in between. Could be in the form of modifiers. Number two, we see that subject, if it's in compound form, connected with the help of and, take it a plural, verb has to be plural. But if there is a compound subject connected with the help of or nor, then what? Then the verb will be according to the nearer most subject. If it's singular, verb singular, plural, verb plural. And please keep in mind, or and nor mean one out of these. Is it clear? Let's see the fourth principle of subject-verb agreement. On your screen, you have treat most indefinite pronouns as singular. Indefinite pronouns like each, every, either, neither, anyone, no one, everybody. So these are actually some examples of indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns are singular. I mean, don't take them this way that when we say, everybody stand up, of course, my address is to each one of the person sitting in this room, everybody stand up. But its agreement with the verb is, little different. Its meanings are each one of you, but it's an indefinite pronoun, okay? And we are talking about individuals, actually, not people in collective form. individuals, like each one of you. So everyone, it's an indefinite pronoun. It is to be taken as a singular. So if subject is singular, plural is going to be singular. Like on your screen, you have an example. Everyone on the team supports the coach. Everyone, singular, supports the coach. Look, meanings, like in team, let's say there are 12 players, and we are saying everyone supports each one. I mean, from meanings point of view, we are talking about the individuals, 1, 2, and 6, and 8, and 11, and 12, each one. And it's an indefinite pronoun, okay? And take it singular. Everyone supports the coach. One more example on your screen. Each of the pharaohs have been seated. Very simple. Each, we're not talking about, all, each actually. So verb has to be singular, has been seated. And the next example, none of these trades require. None of these trades, 1, 2, 3, 4, none of these trades. Meanings are, of course, all pinpointing the individual items, okay? Indefinite pronoun, none of these trades, singular, verb is going to be singular. And the sentence goes, none of these trades requires a college education. Now, this indefinite pronouns, not all of you, of course, but many of you, take indefinite pronouns as plural. Like, none of these trades require, will be a mistake. None of these trades is what? Is an indefinite pronoun. Meanings are, of course, to all, but focus is on individuals. That is why, indefinite pronouns are singular. Verbs, they're going to take also singular. Now, 4 principles, you have studied. Let's go down to the 5th one. The 5th one says, treat collective nouns as singular unless the meaning is clearly plural. Now, collective nouns, for example, jury, for example, class, for example, committee, for example, army, for example, police. These are collective nouns. Now, it's the use of collective nouns, is more of conceptual in nature. If you address that group collectively, then of course you'll be using collective nouns as singular. But if you want to address them individually, for example, then meanings, will be, then the verb, of course, will be the plural. To say, you can speak this way, the police is or the police are. The class is or the class are. Now, class or police, these are collective nouns. And it depends upon you, what meanings you want. You want to address them as a group, singular, singular verb. You want to address them not as a group, actually, as, people inside, the members inside that group. Meanings will be, of course, plural. The police is or police are, class is or the class are. One example if I give you, just to make it rather clear, couple, that's also collective noun. Couple is sitting in a garden. Or a couple are sitting in a garden, hand in hand, or holding each other's hand. Now, you might be wondering that how one could know that the meanings are, plural or meanings are singular. To say collective noun to be taken as, singular, or collective noun to be taken as plural. Just by looking at the verb, if verb is plural, then plural meanings. If it's singular, then singular meanings. No, not at all. You as a writer, make sure that you add some elements to your sentence which should denote or which should mention that here the focus is not on the collective part. Rather, the focus is on the individuals. I mean, not on group, but on individuals. Same sentence which I quoted before. A couple are sitting in a garden. Now, if I end my sentence just this much, then of course it will be wrong. I mean, a couple are sitting in a garden. There are no such elements in this sentence which could tell my readers that meanings here are plural. So he would of course say that it's a wrong collective noun to be taken as singular. So a couple is sitting, in a garden. But if I add some elements, a couple are sitting in a garden holding each other's hands. Now, holding each other's hands will, of course, give my readers an idea that here stress is not on a group, but on the individuals in a group. So this is how, we decide collective noun to be taken as singular or to be taken as plural. If you come back to the slide, there you can see the singular meanings of collective nouns and the plural meanings of collective noun. The first one, the class respects the teacher. Now here the class taken as a group. In the second sentence, the class are debating among themselves. Now the class are debating among themselves is actually that element which I was talking, with you just a moment before, that leave certain elements, which could give your readers an idea that here meanings are, not group, but, the members or the, units inside. Go down to one more example. The scout troop meet in our basement on Tuesdays. So here the scout troop taken as singular. The verb has to be singular, meets. And the second sentence, the young couple was arguing about politics while holding hands. Somewhat the same example, not different. The young couple were, arguing about politics, holding hands. Now, holding hands may be like, making a chain, for example, of their hands. Here, the stress is not on the meanings as group, but the meanings as, individuals of that group. So this is, our principle, that collective nouns to be taken as singular. If otherwise, meanings are plural, then of course going to be taken as plural. Let's go down to our next rule of subject-verb agreement. Make the verb agree with its subject even when the subject follows the verb. Now, this one is, I would say, unique. Though simple, I mean, you, of course, construct such sentences where verb comes first, subject comes second. When I say, there are 10 chairs in this room, and look here, there are 10 chairs in this room. If I restructure the sentence, it would be, of course, wrong, but, for understanding, doesn't matter. There are, let's say, 10 chairs in this room. Sentence restructured. 10 chairs are in this room, which is, of course, a wrong construction, but to understand. 10 chairs is, your subject. Verb is are in this room, done. But this kind of idea, we express this way, there are 10 chairs. Now, this is what actually, the rule says. Even if your verb is first, I mean, V is first, then comes subject. Even in that case, what you're going to do is subject has to go according to its verbs or verb. Example, there are surprisingly few children in our neighborhood. Here the subject is few children. Surprisingly few children. In the next sentence, there was a social worker. Now, social worker is a subject, which is a singular subject. Verb is singular, was. Sentence cannot be this way. There were a social worker. Of course not, would be wrong. Subject and verb both agree with each other. Subject is singular, verb is singular. Third example. At the back of the room is a small aquarium. Now, is shows that the next coming subject is, singular, and of course that is singular, a small aquarium. So this is how we have seen that it doesn't matter, whether your subject is coming first or subject coming, second, they should agree with each other. Let me give you one more example. If I say, she is wearing a beautiful dress. She, subject, singular, is verb singular. Both agree with each other. I can say the same sentence, construct the same sentence, restructure it. How? She's wearing a beautiful dress she's wearing. Or I can, make it this way, a beautiful dress wearing she is. No matter what, no matter how I begin or end my, sentence, doesn't matter. Your subject is coming first, subject is coming second, verb coming first, verb coming second. It doesn't matter. What matters to us is that subject is going to agree with its verb. That is the message. Let's go next. Make the verb agree with its subject, not with the subject complement. If you remember, basic clause patterns. We studied 5 basic clause patterns. The first was subject and verb, intransitive verb. The second one was subject, verb, and complement. And the rule says, make the verb agree with its subject, not with the subject complement. Like example is, a tent and a sleeping bag is the required equipment. The second example, if you see, a major force in today's economy are women as earners, consumers, and investors. Let me explain you the second sentence. A major force in today's economy are women. Now, are women, you might be wondering, because women, that's plural form, the verb should be are, whereas women is what? This is actually the complement, subject complement. Like subject, verb, and complement, subject complement. Women is the subject complement, and, which is of course wrong, verb has to agree with its subject. And the subject is what? A major force. Now, major force is in singular form. If major force is in singular form, which is a subject, verb should be, singular form. And at the place of are, we are using is. Now, the sentence goes, a major force in today's economy is women. To you, it may sound strange, but this is how actually, the rules are. A major force in today's economy, not are women, is women. Let's go ahead. The next rule is who, which, and that. Take verbs that agree with their antecedents. Who, which, and that. Take verbs, these are of course pronouns, who, which, and that. Take verbs that agree with their antecedents. Now, what are antecedents? Antecedents are like when I'm using pronoun, for example. Now, pronouns, antecedent will be the noun for which I'm using that pronoun. When I say Imran and then I use he, then his antecedent will be Imran. Exactly the same way, when we use who, which, and that, they do have their antecedents. And they, should, of course, agree, with each other. Like the sentence is, take a suit that travels well. Now, look here. That's antecedent is suit. That refers to what? Suit. Take a suit that travels well. That's antecedent is a suit. Suit is in singular form. Verb has to be in singular form. And suit, with respect to suit, verb is travels. Like second sentence, you can see, our ability to use language is one of the things that sets us apart from animals. Now, this sentence is very interesting. I need your attention here. Look, one of the things that sets us apart. Now, that's antecedent. Now, ask yourself, that's antecedent is one or things? What we are trying to say is our focus is on one. If the focus is on one, for example, then of course verb will be in singular form. One is a singular, verb is singular. But if that's antecedent is things, which is plural, then verb is going to be, of course, in plural form. Now, the sentence will be, our ability to use language is one of the things. Now, here, that's antecedent is not one, actually, things. This one also and many other factors, okay? That's the meaning, actually. One of the things that set. So you got to remove S with the sets, okay? So our ability to use language is one of the things that set us apart from animals. Now you can see the second example right there. Dr. Barker knew Frank was the only one of his sons who were responsible enough to handle the estate. Now, in this sentence, if you see that one of his sons stresses not on all of his sons, actually. Stresses on that very son, which is very, very, very good to his father. I mean, if you see the sentence again, Dr. Barker knew Frank was the only one of his sons. Look at the making of the sentence. Only one of his sons. As like, if you remember, we said there should be certain elements, which should decide the focus of our sentence. Singular meanings or plural meanings. So here, writer is giving his readers those signs from where they could understand that, meanings, subject is going to be singular or plural. When we say only one of his sons, don't you think these are those elements, which we were talking, about before? So only one of his sons means singular. Not all sons, only one of his sons. So stress is on singular. That's antecedent is singular, one son. So that's why its verb coming next is also going to be singular. Now let's go down to our next rule. It says words such as athletics, economics, mathematics, physics, statistics, and news are usually singular despite the plural form. So these are, subjects. These are, of course, proper nouns. It doesn't matter the sound plural, but we have to see what are their functions. How do they function? They function as singular. Verbs are going to be singular. We're not going to say economics are or mathematics are. We'll say economics is, mathematics is. So this is how, we'll be doing it. Our next rule is what? Titles of works and words mentioned as words are singular. Again, somewhat the same thing. If titles, for example, book name, for example, article names, okay, novels, plays, whatever, doesn't matter, they are in plural form. Verb is going to be, singular. This is what it says. Let's take an example. Lost cities describe the discoveries of many ancient civilizations. Now, lost cities, this is, let's say, this is a name of a book, lost cities. And the next verb is describe or describes. Rule says, if the titles are in plural form, doesn't matter, verb has to be singular. So, lost cities describes. This is how the sentence, will be made. Now, we'll move towards pronouns. Subject-verb agreement is over, which, contained 10 important rules to follow. Exactly the same way, there are certain, rules to follow for pronouns. Now, pronouns are what? Pronouns are reference words, actually. They have their antecedents. Like in subject-verb, subject was agreeing with verb. Here, what's going to happen, you would see that pronouns should agree with their antecedents. If I'm using some pronoun for some noun, they both should agree. Here, there's no role of verb, actually. Nouns and their antecedents. This you would see, plus you would see the order of pronouns, like first person, second person, third person pronoun. If you put all these three together, for example, what should come first? Then you would see if you use pronouns in comparison, for example. Or if you use pronouns with to be verb form, for example. So what's going to happen? We'll see, all these. Let's see rule number 1 towards pronouns. It says, make pronouns and antecedents agree. Like I mentioned before, that noun and its antecedent both are going to agree. Example is, the doctor finished her rounds, or the doctors finished their rounds. You see, singular, her is pronoun, and it's a singular pronoun, and its antecedent is also singular. there shows that, the antecedent is in plural form, and of course, that is in plural form, the doctors. An example there in front of you is, when someone has been drinking, they are more likely to speed. Now, in this sentence, when someone and they are, now someone and they don't agree with each other. Someone is indefinite, it is singular, then the pronoun should be in his or her form, right? So the sentence will be, when someone has been drinking, he or she is more likely to speed. Someone, singular, pronoun, singular. See one more example. A medical student must study hard if they. Now, again, a medical student must study hard if they, not if they, if he or she. Third example, the jury has reached their decision. Now, jury is a collective noun. And here, we'll be taking it as a singular. The pronoun coming next will, of course, be a singular. Not there, rather, its decision. So, the jury has reached its decision. So, this is how the first principle goes, that pronoun should agree with the antecedents. Let's see the next rule towards pronouns. Make pronoun references clear. Example, very interesting one. When Aroma put the pitcher on the glass top table, it broke. Now, if you take a look of this sentence, that when Aroma put the pitcher on the glass top table. Now, two things are there. One is pitcher, second one is glass top table. And then comes, the reference it. Now, in this sentence, it's not clear what broke actually. The pitcher broke or the glass top table broke. Because its antecedent can be a pitcher also. Its antecedent can be a glass top table also. So, that's what actually we say, make pronoun references clear. When this problem actually occurs, when there are two possible antecedents and one pronoun, and the relationship is not made correctly, that where that pronoun goes to which noun. So here you have to repeat actually. If the pitcher broke, then the sentence should go this way. When Aroma put the pitcher on the glass top table, the pitcher broke. Or if glass top table broke, then you can say the glass top table broke. Let's see one more example. Tom told James that he had won the lottery. Now, again, the same problem. He is a pronoun. It can have two antecedents. One is Tom and second one is, James. Now, it's not clear in this sentence that this he thing, is referred to Tom or James. Exactly the same way, you have to repeat that very, like, Tom won the lottery or James won the lottery, or you can, change it into direct speech. Changing it into direct speech, of course, going to remove all confusions. Third example. Romeo and Juliet were both too young to have acquired much wisdom, which accounts for their rash actions. Now, this one, the first part, which talks about, Romeo and Juliet, being not that wise, this is not a fact. I mean to say absolute, truth or what. It's somebody's statement, perhaps. So if it's someone's statement, then you have to add certain words, not pronoun actually, certain words over there, which could clear the meanings that this points out someone's statement. For example, Romeo and Juliet were both too young to have acquired much wisdom. A statement which accounts for their rash action. Or you can say a fact which accounts for their rash actions. So this is how, it will be corrected. Let's move towards now our next rule towards pronouns. And that says, use personal pronouns in the proper case. Like example is, Sarah confessed that the artist was her. Now here, in this sentence, we have to see that the pronoun her refers to what? Sarah confessed that the artist was she. Stress is actually towards Sarah. So Sarah herself, actually. The sentence would be Sarah confessed that the artist was her. Please keep in mind, when pronouns come after to be verb, this is something very, very important. Whenever you use pronouns after to be verb, is MR or was and were, pronouns are going to be in subject form. For example, this sentence will be simply wrong if I say, it is me. We often use this kind of sentences, it is me, which is wrong. Why? It is. Is actually a to be verb. Is MR, was and were is a to be, present and past forms. If it's to be verb, then the pronoun has to be in subject form. And the subject form of the pronoun is I. Sentence will be not it is me, rather it's I. Please don't forget this one. Let's see another example. My husband is 6 years older than me. Now this is another very interesting thing. When you compare people, for example, then in comparison when pronouns come, take it this way, concretely speaking, THAN, this is, comparative stuff. After THAN, then pronoun again is going to be in subject form. Like older than me will be wrong. Older than I. So if you use pronouns in comparison, you will be using their subject, forms. Another very important thing, when pronouns are used, first, second, and third, person pronouns are used in order, for example, as a compound subject. For example, you want to use he also, you want to use I also, you want to use you also. In just order, 3 pronouns as subject. Then what we do actually, first should come second person pronoun, then third, then first. So it becomes how? 2, 3, and 1. Second person, third person, and first person. Like, first should be you, and he, and then I. It will be wrong if you say I, you, and he, or he, you, and I. Exact order is you first, he second, and I third. So you, he, and I are, going to blah, blah, blah. So this is how, pronouns will go. One more example, taking you back to personal pronouns in the proper case. You will work with our senior producers who you will meet later. Now, who you will meet later, if you change who into whom, that would be a better choice. Go back, you will work with our senior producer whom you will meet later. If you see the next one, the tutor who I was assigned to. Okay, so the tutor who I was assigned to, who should be changed into whom I was assigned to. And next example, whom is responsible would be wrong. Who is responsible, a better choice. And the last one, who did the committee select? Now in this sentence, who did the committee select? We are talking about that person, asking about that person. So therefore, we should use who did the committee select. Now these are some of the rules which we use for pronouns. Some important rules I would like to revise for you, not subject-verb agreement rules, pronouns especially. Like the first one, which I said, that all the pronouns are going to agree with their antecedents. You have to see, like the way I was saying in subject-verb agreement, no matter how long is a sentence, underline your subject, underline your verb, and see they agree with each other. That's a wonderful test. Exactly the same way, find out which one is the pronoun, and then find out which one is the antecedent. of course, antecedent is going to be the very noun. Sometimes you have seen through examples, possibility is that there are more than one nouns as antecedents. They're confusing. So what you have to do is very, very carefully, you have to decide that which one is the antecedent of that, pronoun. Then, important thing that when nouns are in order, like all the three-person pronouns are in order, the formula which I have given you is second, and then third, and then first-person pronoun, like you, he, and I. Two, and third important rule for pronoun, I mean, these are actually common errors, which we all, commit, while writing. Third important one is that when you use pronouns after to be verb, this is very, very common error. Like, it's me. Now, is a to be verb. Me, wrong. I, it's I. So, if you use pronoun with to be, pronoun is going to be in subject form. And when you use pronouns in comparison, for example, like, after than, for example, like older than me or older than I, in comparison or in than, you will be using again subject, pronouns. There was one more, problem which we studied, that, if like pronoun having two antecedents, again the same way, pronoun having singular and plural antecedent, then you have to decide that pronoun should go for plural or should go for singular. I mean, should we use his or should we use their? Again, find out the way we found out, certain elements, which tell us that, verb and subject, in that case, exactly the same way, there will be certain elements in that sentence, which you should bring to your focus and then decide pronoun should be in singular form or in plural form. So these are, some very, very important rules which we need to follow. And plus, the study of these rules or the study of these issues, makes us able to analyze our own writing. I mean, there's no need, of course, there will be, but generally speaking, after knowing, after studying, after understanding all these issues, the need will be, of course, less. Taking your work to, some masters and requesting them, to check your work and find out, the problems and all. You know these rules, you know these issues, you know how to resolve these issues. You can yourself analyze your writing. You can yourself become a guide for yourself. And, of course, move towards better writing, avoiding all these, common errors. In my next class, we are going to talk about some more grammatical sentence issues towards adjectives and adverbs and, of course, fragments and all. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I know this is little more technical, actually, in nature, and it needs a lot of, extra readings. Of course, you can use handouts and you can use books to clear your concepts more. Hopefully see you in my next class. Take care of yourself and each other. Assalamu alaikum. Khuda Hafiz.